High up on Mount Hood, it only takes one slip.
Bam, they were at us.
9 climbers plunge into a crevasse. Rescuers scramble a helicopter.
Oh my goodness.
This is it. We're all gonna ride an avalanche down to our death.
This is the inside story of a rescue that went wrong.
Oh, that is horrible. You're watching this live, folks. Oh, if only this was a movie.
United States, Oregon, the Cascade Mountain Range, Mount Hood. A group of firefighters and their friends from Portland set out on a climb to the summit.
I've never seen it this icy before.
Jeremiah Moffett is with his new girlfriend, Selena Maestes. She has never attempted anything like this before.
Jeremiah and I just started dating. I was very much trying to show him that I wasn't just a girly girl, that I really enjoyed the outdoor stuff. I expect it to be a challenge, and I expect it to be a good time. Because I'm told that normal people can do this climb.
14-year-old Cole Joyner and his father, Cleve, are part of the group. They've been rock climbing together before, but today is a first.
We had never climbed on snow and ice before. I was excited about it. I was anxious to get to the top and have that experience with him.
Their route will take them up a steep slope to a ridge called the Hog's Back, and then on to the summit. The climb to the top is 3,425 meters and takes about 6 hours. It's America's favorite peak, a dormant volcano that attracts more than 10,000 climbers every year. Today, 50 people are registered to climb. Jeff Pierce leads the group from Portland. He's an expert mountaineer and knows this peak well.
It's a very peaceful place. But I've always known that the mountain is very dangerous.
Mount Hood's enormous size creates its own microclimate, and the weather can change from beautiful sunshine to icy whiteout in minutes. Jeff's well aware that over 130 Americans have been killed on these slopes over the last century. It's the USA's most deadly peak. Many of those deaths result from climbers losing their footing and falling down the mountain. Before moving on, Jeff decides that everyone should practice a standard safety drill, a technique called the self-arrest.
Everybody got it?
Using an axe as an anchor, a climber can stop themselves sliding should they fall.
You want to stick the ice axe in the snow, bring your body over the top, and then pull it to your chest.
We practice by sliding down on our backs, digging in the sharp part of the ice axe into the ice, and just hanging on, basically, for dear life. I was showing off a little bit because I wanted to show them that I could hang with the boys.
Jeff makes sure they can all react instantly if they fall. As a further precaution, they attach steel teeth called crampons to their boots to make secure footholds in the ice.
Yeah.
Jeff's plan is to get to the summit and back before the sun starts to melt the ice. 500 meters above the firefighters, Thomas Hillman and his climbing buddy John Biggs have been climbing hard for nearly 6 hours. The friends are members of a group of climbing enthusiasts called the High Pointers.
Our
our goal is to climb the highest point in each state. And Mount Hood was number 46.
They kick across one last precarious ridge to approach the summit.
Once we got to the top, and I think we just really celebrated and thought, hey, we did it. The top of Mount Hood is really not any bigger than 2 cars parked. So I had heard stories about people taking photos and stepping off and sliding to their deaths. So there's not relaxing on top of Mount Hood.
15 minutes later, Hillman and Biggs watch another party of 4 climbers make the summit.
We congratulated them and took photos of each other. In fact, that was John's idea. He was always the social one, making friends and buddies wherever he went.
Hillman is anxious to begin the descent before his muscles start to stiffen. He leads Biggs over the edge, picking his steps carefully. Most climbing accidents happen on the way down.
Descending is dangerous because you've used up all your energy and you can get sloppy.
The men waste no time, aware their route will soon be crowded with climbers still on the way up. 400 meters below the summit, the firefighters approach the Hogsback Ridge. With a long drop opening up beneath them as they climb, Jeff decides it's time to rope themselves together for greater safety.
If they slip and fall, it's 1,000 feet down the mountain. You need to give them some confidence to know that you just fall, your buddies then get to take care of you.
But roping up is a double-edged sword. If the falling climber can't be stopped, the rope can pull the whole team off the slope. As an extra precaution, Jeff splits the group in 2, putting Cleve and Cole on different ropes. He also separates Selena and her boyfriend, Jeremiah.
I'm gonna put Chad, then Selena.
I was thinking, well, I don't want to be separated from him, but when Jeff explained why,
Could I go with Jeremiah instead?
It's kind of a mountain tradition to put family members on opposite ropes. If something bad happens on the rope,
if the whole family's on one rope and they fall, then you've just taken out an entire family. So it's more of a in case of death situation, which was a little scary to hear.
The cheerfulness and the chuckles that we had going up had now come to an end.
300 meters above, the high pointers are making steady progress down from the summit, also roped together. They've reached a tricky passage between an outcrop of rocks called the Pearly Gates. It's steep, narrow, and difficult to get a good footing.
It's still very icy, but it's starting to soften. John's moving through one of the steeper sections that required a lot of attentiveness.
John Biggs struggles to make solid footholds.
I heard a slipping noise. John yelled like, "Whoa!" Took the ice axe and dug in, and I waited.
If Biggs can't stop himself, Hillman's axe is all that can save them from falling hundreds of meters.
I'm putting 110% of my energy and focus on that ice axe.
But John Biggs manages to stop himself with his axe.
And I said, "Good job, John.
Good catch.
Are you all right?" He says, "I'm all right. Let's keep going." I was really relieved.
Just not do that again, okay?
Even so, the men know climbing conditions will only become more unpredictable as the sun starts to melt the ice. 180 meters below, a group of 7 friends continue climbing towards the summit. By about 8:30, they arrive at one of Hood's most dramatic features, a crevasse known as the Bergschrund. Less than 200 meters from the summit, this split in the mountainside is 30 meters wide, 3 meters across, and up to 12 meters deep.
The Bergschrund is right in the middle of the typical route. You basically have to cross over it or go around it.
A natural bridge of ice crosses the gaping crevasse, but Jeff isn't sure if the bridge is strong enough for 7 climbers to cross.
I really wasn't too keen on going across the bridge and having it fail with 2 people that have never been on the mountain on my rope.
Recent warm weather makes the stability of the ice unpredictable. Falling into the crevasse would likely be fatal.
Do you think it's safe to...
So after getting feedback from people, the decision I made was, then we're gonna go around the Bergschrund.
But going around the Bergschrund has perils of its own. Jeff realizes that taking this route will put them in a zone called the fall line. Anything dislodged from climbers higher up will hurtle directly towards them. He knows there are climbers ahead of his group.
It's the most hazardous portion of the mountain, so it's somewhere I don't want to be for very long.
Jeff's plan is to turn the corner of the crevasse and get back to the safety of the Hogsback Ridge as quickly as possible.
Jeff took the lead, and we were all kind of like in a mule train following in that lead.
Below the crevasse, Cleve and Selena's rope is led by Dennis Butler. Ahead of them on Jeff's rope is Cleve's 14-year-old son, Cole, and Jeremiah. But it's slow going. The ice is still unaffected by the morning sun and is rock hard.
Our crampons are only going into the ice like a quarter, half inch. So if you were to try to run across the fall line, you trip, the Bergschrund's 15, 20 feet below you.
A few hundred meters away, another climber happens to photograph the scene. It shows 3 climbers from Jeff's team turning the corner of the crevasse. Visible above them are Biggs and Hillman, and the 4 climbers they'd met earlier on the summit. For the first time, Jeff sees the climbers above. He realizes they need to get out of their fall line, and fast.
So there's hazards below, there's hazards above, there's hazards underneath your feet.
Jeff's fears are confirmed when small avalanches of ice head their way, dislodged by the climbers above.
I'm watching the little ice pellets come down the mountain at us. And I'm thinking, what if they kick down a chunk of ice?
The Hogsback Ridge is only 15 meters away, but every moment they linger in the fall line puts them in grave danger. Hillman and Biggs are still reeling from their narrow escape and warily edge down towards the Hogsback, roped together. 15 meters further up, the 4 climbers from the summit are making their descent. Harry Slutter leads the group. He's a veteran high-altitude climber. Also on the rope is Chris Kern and Rick Reed, a novice. Bill Ward brings up the rear.
Switch another man in.
In the shadow of the pearly gates, Ward turns to face the mountain and loses his footing. His friends jam their axes into the ice in an attempt to arrest the fall. But they are ripped from their positions as Ward accelerates past them. Four climbers are now free-falling down the mountain, roped together. Even Biggs, just 15 meters below, doesn't see the danger until the last moment. Hillman is horrified by what he sees happening to his friend.
The impact came like a billiard ball. where he got hit so hard that he was knocked off, back, and flipped over.
As the men hurtle downhill, he sees their 2 ropes get snarled up.
The 2 ropes now were intertwined.
Hillman must act quickly, or he's next. He rams his axe into the snow for the 2nd time today.
I said, God, I need your help right now. I heard them go by. It was an incredible amount of power. I could feel my whole shoulder being taken out of the socket.
6 men are tumbling down Mount Hood. 150 meters below, Jeff Pierce hears a commotion.
I instantly looked up, and I'm just watching the rope yanking them off the mountain. They're not self-arresting. They're coming all the way down.
Jeff is roped to 14-year-old Cole Joyner and Jeremiah Moffat. When Jeremiah sees the danger, he hunkers down on the ice, just as he'd been trained. Jeff sees they can all avoid being hit if they run towards the ridge.
Move right, move right!
But his desperate command comes too late. With Jeremiah anchored to the ice, the rope stops their escape.
It happened so fast. Bam, they were at us. Felt the jolt, and I'm watching my axe chisel through the ice.
Cleve Joyner sees his 14-year-old son Cole getting caught up in the human avalanche.
Nobody was going to stop this. Cole got literally plucked out of the ground. The rope just pulled him, down he went. Then there was a thud. So I started counting thuds because I want to know how many bodies are going in the crevasse. I'm counting 1, 2, 3. I counted 7. And then I went into, oh my God, I've just killed my son.
In fact, 9 bodies have fallen into the crevasse. Cleve pulls out his cell phone to call 911. He notices a text message.
Cole had been playing with my phone, and there was a message on it that said, "I love you, Dad." Yeah, first thing I saw when I turned on the cell phone.
Deep in the crevasse, Cole is reeling from the fall.
Time slowed down.
Move right!
The thought crossed my mind that, this could be it. The next thing I knew, I was at the bottom. I was really scared because I could hear people screaming down below, screaming for help. I was thinking this thing was going to collapse in on us.
At Cole's feet lies a crumpled figure. This is John Biggs, one of the 2 high pointers.
He was face down in the snow, just kind of moaning out in pain. And I asked him a silly question, "Are you okay?" And he kind of shook his head no.
As he calls 911, Cleve doesn't know if his son is alive or dead. This is a recording of the actual call.
This is on Mount Hood, on the south side, about 800 feet from the peak. We have people down, possibly injured. They fell into the crevice.
Before Cleve can confirm his story, his phone cuts out.
It was very cold up there, so batteries don't last very long. So my phone went dead.
Cleve's 911 call is passed on to Oregon Emergency Management, who coordinate rescue services across the state. They alert Portland Mountain Rescue, based 80 kilometers from Mount Hood, in downtown Portland.
My first thought is this is going to be a big mission. But until you arrive on scene, you really don't know what to expect, and therefore it's urgent to get on scene as fast as possible.
Mount Hood is a 90-minute drive from Portland, and Steve's team then face a climb to the accident site. They could take 3 hours to reach the victims. They need a helicopter. The closest helicopter rescue team to Mount Hood is the Air Force Reserve at Portland Airport, 80 kilometers away. They've handled dozens of mountain rescues. The state rescue management won't call them until it's certain a helicopter mission is needed. That decision depends on getting an accurate picture of the situation on the mountain. No one knows for sure how many people have fallen into the Bergschrund or how many are injured. But 8 meters down in the crevasse, Jeff Pierce has had a lucky escape.
I'm like, wow, nothing's broke.
The first person Jeff sees is his fellow firefighter, Jeremiah Moffett. And he's not in good shape.
This is my buddy. I brought him up on this mountain, and now he's injured.
He must put his personal feelings aside.
Jeremiah! I knew that I needed to go to work. Jeremiah! I needed to, in a sense, take off my climbing helmet and put my fire helmet on. You hurt anywhere?
Jeff is a fully trained paramedic. And his mission is to identify those most in need of help. A process called triage.
I had injured people that needed to be triaged, essentially find out who's dead, who's most seriously injured, and who we're gonna save. Okay.
He checks Jeremiah for fractures.
Are you hurt anywhere?
Any sign of confusion indicates a possible head injury.
He said that he hurt, his chest hurt, his back hurt, and he kept asking the same question. How's Selena?
How's Selena?
And I would say, Selena's fine, she didn't fall. And 2 seconds later, how's Selena? So I knew that he had some sort of concussion.
Despite Jeremiah's head injury, Jeff decides he is not in any immediate danger.
I could see Cole standing there with his eyes just wide open. Did you pass out? No. Okay, just hold on.
One of the climbers is motionless. It's John Biggs.
Hello, talk to me. Hey, talk to me.
Jeff checks the climber's neck for a pulse.
The person has no pulse. And I realize, this person's neck does not feel like the normal person's neck. Well, okay.
Biggs' pupils do not react when exposed to light.
This person's dead. There's nothing I can do for this person.
He was gone. I hope he realized that, he wasn't alone and there were people there with him.
Jeff can see 4 climbers on the ice ledge, but he can hear more cries from somewhere below. He directs Cole to keep watch on Jeremiah, while he heads deeper into the crevasse. About 3 meters below the shelf, Jeff finds a knot of injured climbers crammed into a narrow gap.
There's several other people in there pancaked together. Hey, are you okay? And they're moaning and groaning and crying out for help.
Are you okay?
The man on top of the heap is Thomas Hillman.
Where are you hurt?
I was so cold. My back hurt, my head hurt. I was disoriented. As much as I willed my body, it was like I was in molasses. I couldn't move.
To get to the men beneath, Jeff must somehow move Hillman out of the way, and he must act quickly. In these sub-zero conditions, the victim's body temperatures will drop fast, leading to hypothermia. If their core drops to 28 degrees centigrade, heart failure is a real danger.
If they stay there, they're going to get hypothermic and they're going to die.
High above, 4 of Jeff's climbing party were not caught up in the fall. Firefighter Dennis Butler edges to the lip of the crevasse, not knowing what to expect.
How about Cole? Can you see him?
Above the crevasse, 2 people wait in terror to learn of the fate of their loved ones. It's been 10 minutes since Cleve Joyner dialed 911. He fears his 14-year-old son, Cole, is dead in the crevasse.
How about Cole? Can you see him?
Yeah, he looks okay.
Then, everything was fine for me, you know, not for everyone else, but I mean, that was my first priority.
Dennis, can you see Jeremiah?
Selena Maestes is desperate to know if her boyfriend has survived.
She's okay.
Yeah, I can see him. I think he's talking.
Okay, he's alive enough to talk, not just unconscious. That's all I needed to know.
Deep in the crevasse, others are not so fortunate.
You know, Dad. Okay.
Jeff decides it's safe to move dazed climber Thomas Hillman.
Dennis! I need a haul line! I'll get on it!
The plan is to make a haul system to lift the injured men out of the crevasse. Using a series of pulleys, Dennis and his team can reduce the effort it takes to move the bodies. It's a technique the firefighters have practiced countless times.
Got it.
As the team hauls him to the surface, Selena remembers her deal with Jeff at the start of the climb. As an expert ambulance paramedic, she would take charge of any medical emergency on the mountain.
Whatever comes out of the hole, I would be taken care of.
She never dreamt she'd have to come through on the promise.
I got together all my emotions, just kind of put them aside and kind of flipped into paramedic drive.
Do you feel any changes? Any hot or cold, okay?
My buddy Biggs.
I don't know.
I was just so relieved to be under the crevasse. The sun felt so good to have warmth.
It's gonna hurt like hell, but I gotta pull you out.
Jeff can see the next man, the sixth he's found, is also seriously hurt.
His biggest complaint was his hips. You know, I touch his hips a little bit and it causes him some pain. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I have to move you to get to the next person. And it's going to hurt. I'm sorry.
The man has a fractured pelvis, his shoulder, leg, and wrist broken. With every movement, his bones grind together.
He was just screaming so loudly, it just sounded awful. I was wondering, what am I going to be able to do for this guy up here with no paramedic toys available to me?
Chris, where does it hurt?
In the bottom of the crevasse, Jeff sees one last body in the snow.
Are they breathing? Do they have a pulse? What are their eyes doing?
The seventh man has no vital signs.
I checked him, and then I was checking him again because I just wanted to make sure. Talk to me! You there? He's obviously dead.
The man is 48-year-old Rick Reed. Today was his first climbing trip. When Jeff moves Reed's body, he can't believe what he sees.
Hello, hey! I had to dig out the fourth person. He's buried in the snow and rock. And he's, you know, blue.
Bill Ward, the first man to fall, has suffocated beneath the other climbers. 3 men are dead. 3 are badly hurt. 1 more is walking wounded. Just 2 of the 9 who fell are uninjured. Across the south face of Mount Hood, word of the tragedy spreads. Climbers make their way to the Bergschrund to help. Among them is Steve Boyer, an ER doctor.
I was on the mountain just by coincidence, climbing alone. The climber descending said, "You're about to walk into a disaster zone."
Hi, I'm an ER doctor.
He arrives at the scene within 20 minutes of the accident.
I just set right to work and began assessing people who were injured.
He's careful to look beyond the obvious damage like broken bones.
Where's it hurt, Chris?
Right here.
The multiple injuries typical of a climbing fall are notoriously difficult to diagnose.
The fall started on about a 45-degree icy slope. They may have been going 40, 50 miles an hour by the time they hit the end of the rope. Fractures are one concern, but internal injuries become of even greater concern.
High-velocity impacts can rupture internal blood vessels. This can lead to a loss of blood pressure and circulatory shock.
Shock is insufficient blood flow. Your blood pressure falls, and you can't deliver blood and oxygen to the tissues that are needing it.
The result can be a complete collapse of the circulatory system. The entire team watch out for the symptoms of shock: a weakening pulse and a deteriorating mental state.
If you're not getting blood to your brain, you're saying things that you don't mean, you're really disoriented, you might not feel pain when really you're in pain.
You have to watch the people extremely well. They may look fine right now, but an hour from now, they may be dead.
Those not as severely injured are now pulled from the crevasse. Harry Slutter, the leader of the first group to fall, decides to try and hike down the mountain to safety.
I got him.
Jeremiah is next out.
Hey guys,
Cole follows Jeremiah to the surface.
where's my dad?
He was the last one to come out of the crevasse alive, and it was a real proud moment for me.
Dad! Dad!
Walked over to my dad and gave him a big hug. I actually looked at my dad and I said, get me off this damn mountain now.
So glad to see you. I love you, Dad.
All 6 survivors are out of the crevasse, but they're 7 kilometers above the nearest road. With 3 severely injured, the climbers and their rescuers are still a long way from getting off the mountain. Selena sees Chris Kern's condition is getting worse.
Chris started to not want to talk anymore. He was starting to fall asleep, and that made me very nervous.
Selena can do no more for her patient without equipment.
You okay, Chris?
Then, she hears approaching helicopters.
Oh, helicopters, are those for me?
Chris said, oh, the helicopters, are they here? Is that for me? Is that for me?
But she quickly realizes this is no rescue mission. They're being buzzed by news choppers. This is the actual footage they shoot. News of the accident is already on local television.
Joining the K2 coverage team, he is on Mount Hood with more details for us. Paul?
80 kilometers to the west, at Portland International Airport, the Air Force Reserve Search and Rescue Team are watching TV when news breaks.
We probably averaged 100+ missions a year in the Mount Hood area.
Paramedic rescueman Darren Shaw expects to be mobilized at any moment.
We fit that little niche of the rescue puzzle.
10 a.m., about an hour after the accident. Oregon Emergency Management finally have enough information to call in the Air Force helicopter team. It's not clear to Darren Shaw and his crewmates how many casualties are on the mountain.
We took a lot of extra gear. The philosophy is better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
On the mountain, Selena cannot understand why it's taking so long for a helicopter to rescue them.
Did you forget about it?
She feels they've been
We
abandoned.
need to get these men off the mountain now.
I kept calling 911 and telling them, we need a helicopter. These people are injured badly. We can't sit here. And they kept telling me, it's coming, it's coming.
Okay, where are the helicopters?
At about 11:30 a.m., 115 kilometers from Mount Hood in Salem, the second helicopter rescue unit gets involved. The National Guard Air Ambulance has been put on standby. The base commander, Lieutenant Colonel Dan Hokanson, has prepared 2 of his 15 Black Hawks for action. And now, he sends them to Mount Hood, even though Oregon Emergency Management tells them they are not needed at this point. The Black Hawks cover the 115 kilometers in just over 20 minutes when they rendezvous at the base of the mountain. The pilots find out the skies above Mount Hood are busy with news choppers. The chances of an accident are too high. They wait 40 minutes for the news teams to be ordered away. It's early afternoon before the first Black Hawk arrives at the Bergschrund, nearly 4 hours after the accident. For the stranded climbers, it's a massive relief.
Within a short period of time, we're going to have these people airlifted off the mountain, and we can all go home.
Chris Kern is the man with the worst injuries and is first in line for rescue. He's strapped into a stretcher and hooked onto a steel cable connected to a powerful winch. Steve Boyer, an ER doctor, has flown several helicopter rescue missions. He's aware that hovering at this altitude is risky. The thin air means the engine has to work harder to maintain lift. With his intimate knowledge of the mountain, Boyer knows there's another surprise for a pilot flying above the Hawk's back.
It is sort of a microclimate in terms of the wind.
The unique configuration of cliffs around the Hawk's back can radically alter the direction of the wind. Even a small change in the prevailing direction can make the local wind over the Hawk's back flip east to west.
A few degrees change in the wind direction can be a 180-degree change in the wind direction for the helicopter.
But the pilot skillfully rides the waves of shifting air. And in 15 minutes, Chris Kern is winched to safety. The helicopter leaves the mountain with the first casualty on board. Meanwhile, the local mountain rescue team are on their way up Mount Hood on foot. Just 180 meters below the crevasse, leader Steve Rollins finds Harry Slutter collapsed in the snow.
He was sitting down, completely alone. He looked bad. He looked very pale. My first impression was, this person needs help.
Hours earlier, Slutter set off alone down the mountain, having been dragged from the crevasse, apparently unhurt.
He walked all the way down, a couple hundred feet down the mountain, finally sat down where he started succumbing to his injuries.
The delay is a common feature of climbing accidents. During the fall, his body released a massive surge of the stress hormone adrenaline, a powerful stimulant.
The effect of the adrenaline is that, number one, it diminishes his pain, so he's not experiencing pain that he might otherwise notice. He didn't realize how injured he was.
As the mountain rescue team work to stabilize Slutter, a second Black Hawk arrives. This time, Tom Hillman, suffering from a suspected ruptured spleen, is strapped into the rescue stretcher and airlifted to hospital.
You know where things stand right now. Two we have seen arrive at Legacy Emmanuel Hospital, a 40-year-old man, a 45-year-old man. Both are said to be in serious condition.
Helicopters from the National Guard have airlifted the two most seriously injured men off the mountain. At last, the crisis appears to be under control. But now, more than 4 hours after the accident, Selena sees her boyfriend's condition deteriorating.
Selena whispered, "I think Jeremiah's lung is collapsing."
He was having a really hard time breathing. If he has a collapsed lung, it wouldn't take very long for him to die.
Jeff calls for another urgent airlift. His desperate message is passed on to a third helicopter deployed by the Air Force Reserve. Flight paramedic Darren Shaw is keen to get into action.
It's nice to be able to flex your muscles, exercise your skills.
But he knows this rescue will be risky. The Air Force Reserve use Pave Hawk helicopters. They have the same engine as the Black Hawks used by the Army, but weigh 2,000 kilos more.
We wouldn't typically go up and do a rescue at that altitude with the power limitations that we have in our helicopter.
They planned to drop off the rescue crew far below the crevasse so they could climb up to the casualties. But now, believing Jeremiah's life is in danger, the crew agree they should head straight to the crevasse and lift him directly on board. With power in short supply, the pilot takes advantage of the westerly headwind to boost the lift from the rotors during the hover.
We dropped one of our guys off. We lower our cable down, they hook in.
Jeremiah is seconds away from rescue.
I just said, well, you know, I'll see you at the hospital, gave him a kiss.
Happy that her boyfriend is going to be okay, Selena starts to walk down the mountain.
We start bringing that cable in. Everything went great, just by the numbers.
News cameras cover the rescue live. The 5-ton helicopter pitches violently. Just 12 meters above the people it's come to help.
You don't have a whole lot of wiggle room there if anything goes wrong.
The crew know they're in serious trouble.
I'm thinking we're going down. I'm hoping that we don't bring our patient with us because he's on a cable.
Darren and his crewmates know there's an emergency cable release. As the pilot fights to steer the pitching chopper away from the crowd, one man struggles across the cabin. He manages to punch the switch, freeing Jeremiah.
The rotors hit. It was just big noise. I thought the entire mountain was going to explode and we're all going to die.
And then we started to roll. I'm thinking, this is how I'm gonna die. Beaten to death inside the helicopter.
2 crewmen are catapulted from the helicopter. Then, it rolls over one of them.
Oh, fellas. Oh, my goodness. You're watching this live, folks. Oh, if only this was a movie. You've seen the helicopter. You saw the tail go into the mountain.
After 7 complete turns, the helicopter comes to a stop, 300 meters below the Bergschrund.
I could see bodies down there, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Jeremiah must be in there. He was attached to that.
Selena is convinced her boyfriend has been dragged to his death. She looks for any sign of him in the debris. But Jeremiah is lying exactly where she left him just moments ago.
It was a big relief.
Jeremiah's head injury means he can recall only fragments of his ordeal.
I remember it coming in, kind of hovering over the top. You know, I was cold, I was hurting, and oh man, am I gonna be glad to get off this thing. And I saw the cable go limp, I was thinking, oh, where's that thing going? About a minute later, someone came over and said, yeah, the helicopter went down kind of hard. We're going to be here just a little bit longer. And then it was like, oh, wow, I'm lucky.
Climbers and rescue teams make their way to the smashed helicopter. Incredibly, none of the crew has been killed. Even the man crushed by the helicopter survives, the snow cushioning him from the full weight of the machine.
All our air crew walked away. In a bad situation, that's probably the best we can hope for.
Paramedic rescueman Darren Shaw quickly identifies a possible cause for the crash.
I think one of the factors, it was a nose wind that turned into a tailwind.
Steve Boyer, a doctor experienced in helicopter rescue, also thinks a flip in wind direction brought the chopper down.
When it came in to do the initial drop, they had a headwind.
A headwind would give the helicopter extra lift as it hovered.
My guess is the wind had changed just a few degrees.
The small shift in the prevailing wind is transformed into a 180-degree flip above the hog's back.
Now they had a tailwind, and they dropped down into their own rotor wash.
The unstable air in the rotor wash makes it impossible to generate lift.
As soon as they descended 2 or 3 meters, then they lost their ability altogether to maintain lift.
A crash was inevitable. More helicopters arrived to ferry Jeremiah and the battered helicopter crewmen off the mountain. With no more room in the choppers, the 6 able-bodied survivors hike down the mountain to safety, while mountain rescue teams start to haul the 3 dead men from the crevasse. About 3 hours later, Selena arrives at the hospital looking for Jeremiah.
But I really hadn't bawled until the minute I saw him, and I just started crying.
I'm just very thankful that I'm here. I don't think too many people go through 2 near-death experiences within a couple hours.
In the days after the accident, Jeremiah and Selena find the stress of their experience hard to deal with.
And we'd only been dating less than 2 months. We both said it's either going to make or break our relationship.
We got married September 4th, 2004. Jeremiah and I have a little baby boy named Sam. He's wonderful.
All the injured men plucked from the mountain make good recoveries. But the lengthy delay getting helicopters to the stricken climbers creates shockwaves in the search and rescue community and leads to a radical overhaul. The Sheriff's Office now calls the National Guard directly if a helicopter mission is urgent, and their Black Hawks are the first choice for all high-altitude rescues in Oregon. The time to deploy a helicopter rescue has been reduced from more than 4 hours to less than 1 hour. A faster response for when Mount Hood strikes again.